Okay, breaking the code behind the walls of Chris Jericho. I got this, Big gave this to me for my birthday. Finally got a chance to watch the documentary portion of it. And it goes through pretty much Chris Jericho's life as a professional wrestler. From, being trained by the Hearts. Yes, he was trained in the Heart Dungeon along with Lance T. Storm. So you have him wrestling in Canada, Mexico, Japan, wrestling for, I think it was Smoky Mountain Wrestling, when he was part of the Thrill Series with him and Lance Storm as a tag team. They show some of the promos, and it's Jericho just going nuts like face Jericho used to do, and Lance Storm kind of just standing there. Ironically, you could fast forward about a decade later, and when they'd be cutting a promo, Lance Storm would kind of just stand there, most of his promos, and Jericho would be all over the place. And then of course you had Jericho going into ECW, his transition to WCW, where he was a face. So he was a face during the beginning of the Attitude Era, and he was like, I want to get this victory because, I just want to get the best that I can from all of my opponents. And now he hated it. He doesn't like, because as a face he went nowhere. And then he became a heel, which then led to the feud that he had with Goldberg, which ironically mirrors the feud that Miz had with Cena. But and then him kind of hitting the point where he kind of went, I done all I really could do in WCW. I didn't want to resign. It was getting dull. Then to the countdown of him being on Raw. And how he hated his first appearance on Raw. After the huge countdown, so he debuted with the E in Chicago. I was there. It was awesome. Everyone knew it was Jericho. He made his weird face. He's like, I made his dumb expressions as The Rock, like. Because he did the promo with him and The Rock. He's making those weird faces, he's like, oh, I hate it. It's so stupid. And then how when he was a face, he really didn't do much. Until he became a heel. And then when he became a heel, that's eventually led to him having some of his better feuds and becoming the first ever undisputed champion. When he started, his big goal was to become the IC champion. People like Steamboat, Savage, back when that belt was really prestigious. Then he became the undisputed champion. And it was like, wow, you forget his really great promos when he used to really tear into Stephanie McMahon Helmsley. But, he got over with the crowd, but he never really got anywhere in the ring. Until he became heel. Then up into his first firing, when he lost a match against John Cena, he was fired. And then when he re-debuted on my birthday in 2007. And then again as a face, nothing really happened, He kind of just, he had good matches, but he really wasn't going anywhere. And then when he became a heel again, that's when you have, the Jericho and the suits coming out calling everybody hypocrites. How that started from the Shawn Michaels feud that he had, all the way till he, got beaten down again by Orton and was, and ended up having to retire from wrestling. And it's really interesting because you're watching and keep on going, man, you forget how good he really was. Great in the ring, great on the stick. And I was talking to other people, people like Morrison and The Miz, Cena, Edge, Christian. You go, you know what? It would be great for Jericho to come back, just because I think Jericho Morrison would be an awesome feud, or even Jericho Miz, because that'd have some great mic work and really be solid in the ring too. But the weird thing was at the very end, Jericho was talking about how he wanted to go out. He didn't want a big retirement. He wanted something small to happen, and then they'd be like, you know what? And then it'd be gone. People would be like, man, I hated that guy. What a jerk. And ironically, the way he went out was a punch to the head. Might that have actually been his actual retirement? Or might he come back in a year or so? Because he mentioned when he first left, he didn't want to come back until he saw John Cena and Shawn Michaels in their hour-long match on Raw. And he was like, that's great wrestling. And that brought him back. So, like I said, it covers pretty much his whole career. And if you're a fan of good, solid wrestling, And best part, when you open it up, I still love that because you know you've got the good old fashioned like there's evil heel Jericho, and I'm gonna read some of the matches you've got because the first disc is pretty much just his story as a wrestler. So I'm actually going to read. Yes, I'm actually going to actually read this. And again, you've got heel Jericho on that side. You have him versus Lance Storm from 1990. The Thrill Seekers, that's Storm and Jericho versus the Infernos. Jericho versus Ultimo Dragon, Cactus Jack, Eddie Guerrero, Juventud Guerrero, Dean Malenko versus Kurt Angle, Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania, the Your Fire match against John Cena when he re-debuted in 2007. Him versus Jeff Hardy, the ladder match for the World Heavyweight Championship against Shawn Michaels when he took on Rey Mysterio for the IC Championship. Jericho, Undertaker, and then Jericho Edge at last year's WrestleMania. They might as well have made a fourth disc and just thrown in even more matches. This is a very excellent DVD set. You know, Jericho is by far probably one of the best all-around sports entertainers, period. You know, so if you're remotely a fan of Jericho, or if you want to know what the business has been like over the past like 20 some odd years, it's here. It's the good stuff. Get it, buy it, you'll love it.